Hello, everyone. This is James Song here. Welcome back to the TOEFL show. This is episode 12, and I'm giving you another full lecture of answer and explanation of the TOEFL reading practice test. And this is the answer and explanation of TOEFL practice test 2 that I gave you in episode 11. So I hope you enjoy it. And just like episode 10, this full lecture will also be very detailed and giving you all the answers and explanations of each and every question from question 1 to question 10. So let's get started. Okay, welcome everyone to this video. Let's start with the question number 1. Question number 1, according to paragraph 1, which of the following is true about petroleum formation? So it's a nice and simple factual question. So we just need to find correct information about petroleum formation in paragraph 1 here. So let's read the passage. Petroleum resources is the title, paragraph 1. Petroleum, consisting of crude oil and natural gas, seems to originate from organic matter in marine sediment. Okay, first sentence. Petroleum consists of crude oil and natural gas, two things. Seems to originate, so it starts the formation of petroleum. It is made from the very first point, originate from organic matter, organic thing in marine sediment. So accumulation under the sea. Okay. Next sentence. Microscopic organism. So this is referring to the organic matter. Okay. All right. So organic matter or microscopic organism, whatever you want to call it, settle to the seafloor. Okay, so it becomes marine sediment and accumulate in marine mud. Got it. The organic matter, so organic matter, microscopic organisms, whatever. So this may partially decompose. Okay, so it may partly get rotten. Okay, decompose, decay, using up the dissolved oxygen in the sediment, because you need oxygen to be rotten. For something to decompose, you need oxygen. So part of organic matter do get decayed, decompose by using up some oxygen in the sediment. As soon as the oxygen is gone, so after part of organic matter gets decayed, it seems all the oxygen in the sediments are gone. Okay, it's all used up. There are no more oxygen. Then decay stops, obviously, because you need oxygen to be decayed. If there's no oxygen, it cannot be decayed. And the remaining organic matter is preserved, so they don't decompose anymore. It stays still. It gets protected in its original form, preserved, right? So this is a very start of the formation of petroleum process. Okay, so petroleum is made. It all starts from this organic matter in marine sediment, and these organisms accumulate in marine mud, and some of it get decomposed, but when oxygens are all gone, then it gets preserved. Okay, so that's a starting process, starting formation, starting process of petroleum. Okay, yeah. All right, so question 1A, microscopic organism that live in mud produce crude oil and natural gas. It's gone too far, right? This is not mentioned. I mean, all the information we have is only, it all starts from the sediment, and it gets accumulated. Some of get decayed, but some of that gets preserved after there is no oxygen. That's it. There's no mentioning of this microorganism live in mud, produce crude oil and natural gas. We don't know. We don't know yet. Okay. Like, we don't know how this happens at all. It's just the very starting point. B, large amounts of oxygen are needed for petroleum formation to begin. This is definitely wrong. It's opposite. Because if we believe, I mean, I hope there will be more information in the next paragraph. If the preserved organic matter is like a starting point to form petroleum, then it has to start without any oxygen. When all the oxygens are gone, then this process starts by this organic matter, microscopic organisms, being preserved in its original form. But B says large amount of oxygens are needed, so it's opposite, for petroleum formation to begin. So this is opposite from what we're looking for. Okay, because just to emphasize one more time, if there are lots of oxygen, then all the sediments, organic matter, microscopic organism will be all decayed, decomposed, rotten, and disappear. So there will be no starting point of petroleum at all. Okay. C, petroleum is produced when organic material in sediment, okay, combines with decaying marine, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, so C is saying petroleum is produced when organic material in sediment combines, so one thing gets mixed with another thing, right? Right? So when organic material in sediment, one thing, combines, get mixed with decaying marine organism, makes no sense, right? So all paragraph 1 is saying is that organic material in sediment or marine organisms, it's all same thing. It's just one thing. And when it gets accumulated initially, at the start, in the beginning, some of this one thing gets decomposed, decayed, gets rotten, and the rest that were not decayed after they used up all the oxygen through the process of decomposing, after that, this one thing gets preserved. Okay, so C is totally wrong because it's saying like one thing gets mixed with another thing to create petroleum, which is not mentioned at all here. Okay, which is not mentioned. Okay, so D must be the answer. Good start, but let's double check, of course. Petroleum formation appears to begin. Okay, so it all starts, originate, when? In marine sediment where organic matter is present. Yeah, so the very first point, petroleum, formation of petroleum starts with organic matter in marine sediment. It's right here. It's just the first sentence. So petroleum consisting of oil, crude oil, and natural gas. Okay, so petroleum seems to originate from here. Appears to begin, paraphrasing, originate from organic matter in marine sediment. It's just the answer. Okay, appears to begin, originate in marine sediment where organic matter is present is the paraphrasing of from organic matter in marine sediment. Exactly the same sentence, right? So this was the answer. And this is a paraphrase of this sentence exactly. Okay, exactly same meaning. All right, so first question, factual question. Once again, the answer will be explicitly, directly given, but it may be paraphrased. So, we just need to be careful for that. But, it's just straight up reading comprehension. right? D means exactly the same as this part in the passage. So question 1, D is the answer. Next question, please. Okay, question 2. Which of the sentences below best expresses the essential information in the highlighted sentence in the passage? So this is called sentence simplification question, as you know. I'm writing it. Okay. So there's a given sentence highlighted, and the correct answer will have the only essential information from this sentence. Let's read on. Incorrect choices change the meaning in important ways or leave out essential information. So wrong answer will have different meaning from the sentence, and or leave out essential information, which means it's a big part of this question type. So this sentence may have two parts in it in one sentence. And one of the answer choice may have one part, but not the second part. Then it will be the wrong answer because it left out some essential information from the sentence. Okay. So let's read this highlighted sentence. Continued segmentation. Okay, so it's being accumulated continuously. Okay, so segmentation process being continued. It means the process of deposit settling on the sea bottom. Yeah, okay, so sedimentation means something's being segmented from the sea bottom. So continuous segmentation must mean that continued process of sedimentation. Okay, so this sedimentation being accumulated, getting built up. So continued sedimentation is the subject here. Varies the organic matter. Okay, so it gets built up. And subject makes it to higher temperature and pressures. So this is the first part. Okay, so as I taught you, as I told you in the previous video when I was covering this question type, sentence simplification, the best way to solve this question is to write your own notes here, okay? All right, or a piece of paper so that you know exactly what this highlighted sentence means, and also you have the 2 or 3 parts comprehended so that you can choose the right answer. Okay, all right. So the first part is continued sedimentation varies the organic matter and subjected. So because it's organic matter being accumulated, that's what continuous sedimentation means. Okay, subjects it, so it makes it higher temperature and pressure. Okay, so continuous sedimentation makes the sedimentation higher temperature and pressure because it's getting built up. The second part, which converts the organic matter to oil and gas. Okay, bam. So this converts from organic matter to oil and gas. Okay, so this is a formation of petroleum. Okay, so due to this continued sedimentation that increased the temperature and pressure of the sedimentation as it gets built up, so this makes the this process makes the organic matter into petroleum. Okay, so these are 2 parts. All right, let's solve this question. Answer choice A. Higher temperature and pressures promote sedimentation. This is opposite. Sedimentation promotes higher temperature and pressure of sediments, right? Okay, so this is the cause. This is effects. not the other way around. It's opposite. So it's saying higher temperature and pressure promotes cause sedimentation. No, sedimentation makes it subjected to higher temperature and pressure. Got it, right? Cool. So this is completely wrong. And it's wrong in other areas as well, as you can see. Okay, it doesn't cover these two parts perfectly. B, deposits of sediment on top of organic matter. It's a bit iffy. I think it's wrong already. Because like deposit of sediments is organic matter. So organic matter is being deposited as a sediment. It's a one thing. Okay, but you know, let's assume we didn't pick that out. Okay, so it's being accumulated. Increase the temperature of and pressure on the matter, organic matter. This is true. Okay, so this part is okay. What's the problem here? Yeah, it leaves out essential information. It leaves out the second part completely. Okay, so B doesn't have the part saying that it makes so increased temperature and pressure of the organic matter makes the matter into oil and gas. We need that. We need this part. Okay, we need both parts. Okay, and second part is completely missing here. C, increased pressure and heat from the weight of the sediment. Okay, so due to continuation of sediments, accumulation, turn the organic remain into petroleum. Yeah, I like it. It has both parts. So increased pressure and heat. So this part covered from the weight of the sediment as continued sedimentation. It's paraphrased this way, okay? Because sedimentation continues, then obviously weight of sediments will become increased, right? Because like just sedimentation, but it's being continued, okay? All right? It gets built up, right? Gets larger, right? It gets accumulated. So first part is covered. First part is covered this way. Turn the organic remains, organic matter, as a sedimentation to oil and gas. What's oil and gas? Petroleum. The first paragraph is that petroleum consists of natural gas and oil, right? Okay, so this is actually a paraphrasing of oil and gas, petroleum, if you look at paragraph 1. So this part covers, converts, turns, paraphrased, organic matter to oil and gas, which is petroleum. Yeah, I like C a lot. D, the remains of microscopic organisms transform into petroleum once they are buried under mud. What's wrong here? Okay, what's missing? As the temperature and pressure rises through continued sedimentation. That's missing. So opposite to B, but it's still wrong because D may have the second part, but it does not cover the first part of the sentence. So D is wrong as well. Okay. So question 2, the answer is C. Next question, please. Okay, question 3, let's go. Which of the following can be inferred? Inference question. So there will be a hint or indirect hint. It may not be explicit. They're not going to give you the detail of the answer word for word, but certainly they are going to give you enough hint or clear evidence to make sure one of these answer choices must be the answer. Okay, so that's inference question. So question is, which of the following can be inferred from paragraph 3 about gushers? Okay, what can we infer about gusher? Right, let's read on. Paragraph 3, oil pools are valuable underground accumulation of oil. Okay, so oil pool of oil. Yeah, I bet it's valuable. Okay. And oil fields are region underlain, past participle of underlie. Okay, so oil fields are region underlain by one or more oil pools. Okay, so self-explanatory. Oil pools are pools of oil, and oil fields are several oil pools put together. When an oil pool or field has been discovered, what do you need to do? What did you do? Wells are drilled into the ground. You drill into it and get the oil out. Take the money. Permanent towers called derricks used to be built to handle the long sections of drilling pipe. Okay. So when they found, when they used to find, when they found in the past oil pool or oil field, they built permanent towers to drill it. Okay. Now, portable drilling machines. So it's no longer permanent. Okay. Portable is antonym to permanent. Okay. So portable drilling machine are set up to drill, get the oil, and then dismantled, broken apart. Okay. Be destroyed and removed. Yeah. Minor information. So used to be permanent towers to drill the oil pools in the past, but now they do use the portable machines. When the well reaches the pool, okay, so you drill the well under the ground, and when it reaches the oil pool, jackpot, oil usually rise up the well. Good. So you drill in, and oil usually rise up to the hole. Because why? Because of its density difference with water beneath it. Okay. So first reason, okay. So important detail. So when the well reaches the pool, oil rise up. First reason, because its density difference with water beneath it. Okay. Because oil is lighter in density. When you drill a hole, oil is on the top of the water, right? So it used to be covered, but when you drill in a hole or well, the oil kind of pops out. Okay. Second reason, or because the pressure of expanding gas trapped above it. Okay, so it's trapped. Lid is covered on the top. Okay, so there's gas. Gas is lighter than liquid, of course. So gas is kind of on the top layer, pushing against the ground, let's say, and you drill a hole, you drill a well, then the second reason why oil kind of sprays above is because when you put a hole, when you drill a well, then the gas would come out, whether you see it or not, right? Because it's on the top layer. Okay. Because the gas kind of moves, and then oil, the liquid with the gas kind of sprays above. Voila, jackpot. Okay, so two details we want to know. Process, what happens when you drill a well in oil pool. Although, so contrast transition, let's pay attention. Must be something important or opposite is coming. Although this rise of oil is almost always carefully controlled today. Okay, so they don't let the oil just spray everywhere like you see in the movies or maybe documentary. Okay, all right. So it's well controlled, but because it's although. After comma. Although it's usually okay, almost always well controlled, sometimes it's not well controlled, or it's not well controlled in the past, I guess, right? Spouts of oil, that's what I mean, like a huge spray of oil, okay, from underground. Or gusher, okay. So spouts of oil is called gushers, okay. Were common in the past. Okay, so we already know the answer to the question. Okay, so answer will probably be gusher were common in the past, and it's inference question, not factual question. So answer would be something like gusher is no longer common in today, no longer common today. See, so you can become a master of this question type as you practice and learn. Okay, with me. Right, next sentence. Gas pressure gradually dies out. Okay, so when you put a well, initially gas pressure would be really high, but gas would get the relieved through the well. So gradually, after a while, it gets decreased, and oil is pumped from the well. So oil will not kind of spray above, so you have to pump the oil out. Okay, from the well. Water or steam may be pumped down adjacent wells, not walls, wells. I'm sorry, wells, well. If I pronounce like kind of wall, I apologize. Okay, it's just an honest mistake. Adjacent wells to help push the oil out. Okay. At a refinery, they would refine it, wouldn't it? Okay, like a gasoline and blah blah blah, right? At a refinery, the crude oil from underground is separated into different types of crude oil: natural gas, gasoline, kerosene, and different types of oils. Okay, petrochemicals such as dyes, fertilizer, and plastics are also manufactured from the petroleum. All right, so we just need to solve this question 3 first and foremost. So what can we infer about gusher? There was only one spot they mention about the gusher, and gusher is spout of oil. It used to be common in the past. If we infer, it means it's no longer common, because nowadays gusher is almost always carefully controlled today. So this is the evidence for our answer. So let's choose the right answer choice. A, they may bring the oil to the surface easier. Nope, nothing to do with being easier or harder. B, they signal the presence of huge oil reserve. See, there. Okay, maybe in reality, but it's not mentioned in the passage this way. Okay. All right. They waste more oil than they collect, because gosh, oil gets sprayed everywhere. They waste all this oil. Not mentioned. D, they are unlikely to occur nowadays. Today. Not likely to occur today. This is the evidence of D. Has to be the answer. Okay. So it's not a real subjective inference like in our real life. Okay. It's a test situation. It's objective test. So one has to be the answer from specific evidence or information provided. Okay. So don't get tricked over by word infer. Okay. You're not like subjectively inferring. No. You're looking for a specific information, evidence that the test will give you, right? So this was the information, and this is the answer. So question 3, inference question, the answer is D. Next question, please. Okay, question 4. Which of the following strategies for oil exploration is described in paragraph 4? Okay, so which one? So factual question. What types of oil exploration was described in this paragraph? Let's read on. Paragraph 4. As oil becomes increasingly difficult to find, okay, the search for it is extended into more hostile environment. Okay, so hostile, less friendly, harsher, harder, difficult. Okay, so we want to find more oil. So as oil becomes increasingly difficult to find in more comfortable, easier place, they are going to more difficult places to find oil because they cannot find anymore. The development of oil field on the north slope of Alaska and the construction of Alaska pipeline are example of the great expense and difficulty involved in new oil discovery. So these two sentences like work together. Okay, so first sentence made a statement that as oil is harder to find these days, right? They go to other less friendly area to get oil. An example of this place is north slope of Alaska in order to try to get oil, okay? And construction of Alaska pipeline are examples of this, right? Going to hostile environment. Plus, it shows because it's a hostile environment, it costs a lot of money to try to do this, try to get oil from here, work the pipeline, build a pipeline. Okay, it costs a lot of money. It says great expense and difficulty. Okay, it's more difficult to do to other places. Okay, continuing. Offshore drilling platforms. So this would be another example. Or no slope of Alaska could be offshore platform. Okay, although it's not explicit. Okay, but anyway, it says offshore drilling platform. So what's offshore? In the ocean. Okay, all right, or little bit or far away from the shore. Okay, so the ocean under the water, water that is away from the shore. Okay, all right, that's offshore. So under the sea, right? Okay, drilling platform, or not far away from the shore. It depends. Okay, all right. Some offshore will be very, 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 very far away from the shore. Some offshore platform may be a little bit far away from the shore. Okay. Anyway, under the ocean. Offshore drilling platform extends the search for oil to ocean's continental shelves, those gently sloping submarine region at the edges of the continent. Yeah, as I said. Okay, so offshore, in the water, not in the middle of the land, edge of the continent, or a little bit or far away from the shore. Okay, so this is another example that they are going to hostile places to get oil because they cannot find oil in the middle of the land, or humans may have extracted already. They got all of them out and they need more, so they're going to the ocean. Okay, more than 1/4 of the world's oil and almost 1/5, so 25% and almost 1/5, 20% of world natural gas come from offshore. Okay, so quite a lot, right? Not majority, but 25% of oil and 20% natural gas comes from offshore. What does that mean in reverse comprehension that I call it, indirect comprehension, inference question type? What does that mean? 75% of the oil comes from under the land, through the math, 100 minus 25. And 80% of natural gas comes from, comes from the land, I guess. Okay. Anyway, even though offshore drilling is 6 to 7 times more expensive, so it's hostile. It's trying to explain offshore drilling to get oil is more hostile. Okay. It's harder because it costs more money than drilling on land. So land is preferable, easier, less hostile. Significant part of this oil and gas comes from under the North Sea between Great Britain and Norway. Okay, good to know. All right, which of the following strategies of oil exploration is described? Let's find out. One is explained here. Drilling under the ocean surface. Yeah, offshore. Under the water. Yeah, I think so. Limiting drilling to accessible location. Not mentioned. I mean, it could be true or not. I don't know, but it's not mentioned in the passage paragraph that we just read. Using highly sophisticated drilling equipment. See, it's a test. It's a comprehension test. It's a factual question, right? So this could be true in reality, but it's not mentioned in the paragraph at all. So don't let your imagination run wild. Okay, just find the answer from the passage. Constructing technologically are the same thing, right? Okay, so don't this is not an imagination test. Okay, so all three of this not mentioned at all. Okay, only thing was mentioned was A, because this is referring to what? Offshore drilling. Okay, under the ocean's surface. Factual question. Question 4, the answer is A. Next question, please. Question 5. What does the development of Alaskan oil field mentioned in paragraph demonstrate? What does this show? Okay. So before we read the answer choices, we can say it's an example, one of the examples of hostile environment to get oil. And we remember reading this paragraph for last question that specifically it costed a lot more and it was more difficult to get oil in this north slope of Alaska. Okay, all right, to get oil. So that's why it was more hostile environment. Okay, so question 5. What does development of Alaskan oil field mentioned in paragraph 4 demonstrates? Let's choose the right answer. A, more oil is extracted from the sea than the land. This certainly doesn't tell us that. Okay, all right. And this is not true either, because below here, it says 1/4 of the world oil comes from offshore, means it's not even half. It's less than half. So either way, A is wrong. B, drilling for oil requires major financial investment. Yeah, good paraphrasing. Right? What does that mean? Money requires more money. Okay, so drilling in Alaskan oil field, as shown in here, okay, requires major financial investment. What's the paraphrasing of major financial investment? Great expense. Ching ching. It requires more money. So B looks good. Okay. C, the global demand for oil has increased over the years. You know, you look at the paper, or if you're really smart, you may know, but you know, this is not an imagination. This is not a background knowledge test. It's an English test. So this part is certainly not mentioned at all. D, the nose slope of Alaska has substantial amount. Let's see. Okay. Could be. All right. But doesn't tell us. I don't know exactly. Okay. Not mentioned, guys. Come on. Simple comprehension. All right. This is mentioned. Language test, reading test, comprehension test. Question 5, the answer is B. Next question, please. Okay, moving on to question 6. Paragraph 5, quite short. Nice. So let's solve this question. Question 6. According to paragraph 5, the decision to drill for oil depends on all of the following factors. Okay, so it's negative factual. So just a quick reminder, it's exactly the same as the factual question, except you're looking for wrong information as the answer. Okay. So if that makes sense. Okay. So there will be some information here and 3 answer choices will come from the paragraph that they are the factors, okay, that decision to drill oil depends, right? Okay. But they are the wrong answers because the question asks you except. So we want one answer choice that is not right, which becomes the correct answer. Okay. So decision to drill for oil depends on 3 factors. Let's find it. Paragraph 5. Of course, there's far more oil underground than can be recovered. So still, there are oil underground that we can pump it out. It may be in a pool too small or too far from the potential market. Okay, so there's 2 points here. They're separate. First point is, but although there is oil underground that we can recover, problem is the quantity is too small for us to invest all this money to pump it out, or too far from potential market. Interesting. Okay. So whatever the market is too far away that we can sell it. So, transportation cost, or it doesn't say here, but, if it's too far away where we can sell it, then, that becomes a problem. Okay. To justify expense of drilling, right? So if it's too far away from the market or the quantity is too small, then we cannot justify how much cost that we have to invest. Okay, it's just too much money to spend to get too little amount of oil, or it's too much money to spend because, it's too far away to sell it. There's 2 points, important details, I think. Next. Some oil lies on the region where drilling is forbidden. So maybe by the law, culture, whatever, right? It's not allowed, right? So there's oil there. We know it. Oil there on the ground, but, it's not allowed. Usually by the law, wouldn't it, right? Forbidden, such as national park and other public lands, right? Against the law. So we already have 2 or 3 factors, okay? If the quantity is too small on the ground, the oil, then we are not going to drill it. If it's too far from the market, we're not going to drill it. If it's forbidden, you cannot do it, then we cannot drill it, obviously. So that's 3rd condition. Even given the best extraction techniques, only 30 to 40% of the oil in a given pool can be brought to the surface. Oh, that's interesting. So when you drill the oil pool, even you use the best technique, the outcome, like quantity you can get, is about 30 to 40% of the oil available there, let's say on the ground. Okay. The rest is too difficult to extract. Okay. So 60 to 70% is too difficult to extract and has to remain on the ground. Okay. I see. I didn't know that. Okay. So still there is like 60 to 70%, but maybe it's too deep, or I don't know, it's just too hard and costs too much money. So that even those oil pool that we recover, we extract oil from, we're only getting 30 to 40%. Okay. So these are the three, I think. If the oil pool is too small, it's too far from the market, and if it's not allowed. Okay, let's look at the answer choices. A, permission to access the area where oil has been found. Yeah, so you need to have a permission. It's a factor to consider whether you drill or not. Is one of them is it has to be allowed. Okay, it cannot be forbidden. So you have to have a permission. If it's forbidden, you cannot. If it's not forbidden, then perhaps you can. Okay. So A is referring to this third factor here. Okay. You have to have a permission. Okay. It's a factor. It cannot be forbidden if you want to drill. B, availability of sufficient quantity of oil in a pool. Yeah, the first one. Paraphrased. Okay, it's a right information. So it's not the answer. C, the location of the market in relation to drilling site. Yeah, where the market is important is a consideration. If it's too far, not going to do it. It's very close. Yeah, you would do it. So decision to drill depends on how far the market is from the drilling site. The second factor. Okay. So from these three factors all covered, D must be the answer. Let's read it out. Political situation in the region where drilling would occur, not mentioned. Because the president does not want the, yeah, I don't know. Okay, all right. It's just not mentioned. Okay, so I'm not going to make up some contents to confuse you. So political situation is not mentioned in paragraph 5 for us to consider when we deciding whether to drill for oil or not. Okay, so that's the wrong information. Thus, it is the right answer for this question type, if that makes sense. Question 6, the answer is D. Question 7, the word foul in the passage is closest in meaning to. Okay, let's understand the context and see what foul means in this given context. Quite a long paragraph. Okay, so let's cover it. Moreover, getting petroleum out of the ground and from under the sea, so whether it's under the land or offshore, and to the consumer, okay, so getting the oil out plus getting the oil to consumer can create environmental problems anywhere along the line. Okay, so getting the oil out, whether it's under the land or offshore under the sea, and getting this petroleum to people. So these two processes could create environmental problem. Okay, so it's very much topic sentence. It's obvious. And the rest of the paragraph will give you the reasons or examples or details why and how these environmental problems occur when you get the oil out under the ground or from the sea, or when you're moving this petroleum to consumer. What kind of things happen so that it can create environmental problems? So let's find out. Pipelines carrying oil can be broken by fault or landslide. Oh, sounds awful. Okay, the pipeline that oil is running could be broken, then it will pollute the land or ocean, wouldn't it? Causing serious oil spills. Spillage from huge oil carrying cargo ships. You know, the huge ships, boats that is carrying oil, you know, that could spill oil under the sea. That would be a disaster, wouldn't it? Okay, so these ships called tankers involved in collision. Okay, so they hit each other or accidental groundings, such as the one off Alaska in 1989, can create oil slicks at sea. Yeah, that would be awful. So two examples given. Pipeline could be broken. And these tankers, cargo, these ships, okay, could leak oil because of the accidents. So that's second example. Offshore platform. So offshore place to extract the oil under the sea. Offshore platform may also lose oil, creating oil slicks that drift ashore and foul the beaches. Okay, so offshore platform may have some problems to leak oil, and this oil could drift to the beach, to the shore, and foul the beaches. Yeah, foul here means like pollute or damage, environmentally damage the beaches, wouldn't it? Right? If the oil from offshore platform gets leaked, and if they drift to the beach or shore, then what's going to happen to the beach? It's going to damage the beach, right? All these oils everywhere. Okay, so foul here would mean pollute or environmentally damage, right? Okay. Harming the environment. So that's third example. Offshore platform, leaking oil. Sounds horrible. Okay. Sometimes, maybe fourth example, the ground that on oil field may subside as oil is removed. Fourth example. Okay. The Wilmington field, so this is maybe an actual example of the ground at an oil field may subside as oil is removed. This Wilmington field is probably an actual example. Let's read on. Wilmington field near Long Beach, California has subsided 9 meters in 50 years. Protective barriers have had to be built to prevent seawater from flooding the area. Okay. Another example. 5. Very extensive paragraph. Finally, the refining and burning of petroleum and its products can cause air pollution. Of course, it does, right? Okay, so when you refine, when you burn petroleum, of course, we all know it pollutes the air. Okay. Advancing technology and strict laws, however, so maybe they can solve it or prevent it, are helping control. Yeah, they cannot prevent it. It happens, and it happened, right? But advancing technology and laws are helping control, okay, or try to control, I guess, some of this adverse negative environmental effects. Okay. So advancing technology to purify, clarify, make something more safer. Okay. And the laws. So you cannot do this, you cannot dump this, that kind of thing can help control. So hopefully lessen the negative environmental effects, but they cannot prevent it, right? So this paragraph has it's almost like a whole passage on its own, right? It has a clear topic sentence, almost like a thesis of the whole passage, right? Getting petroleum out of ground and from under the sea and to the consumer can create environmental problems. So that's like a topic sentence, and it provides 5 examples to support the main idea of this sentence. Probably will appear in the summary. Okay, cool. So foul here must be like environmental damage. Okay. Reach, no. Flood, no. Pollute, yeah. Okay, environmentally damage the beaches. Alter means change. Alternative, right? You know that word, right? Alternative. So really easy. C is the answer. Question 7, the answer is C. Next question, please. Question 8. In paragraph 6, the author's primary purpose is to, wow, this is a bit weird. It's a rhetorical purpose, but it's kind of a curveball because usually the question is based on highlighted sentence, isn't it? So, but it's not very often that they're asking the purpose of the whole paragraph. Okay, not highlighted sentence. But it's easy, like we read it. So before looking at the answer choices, if this was the short answer question, not multiple choice, then answer would be to state that getting petroleum out and moving them could create environmental problems, and they are providing examples to support that message. That would be the answer, wouldn't it? Right? So it's a big picture question. If you understood, it would be a real good question, easy question. If you didn't really completely understand the paragraph, then this could be quite difficult. Okay, so very big picture question. A, provide examples of how oil exploration can endanger the environment. Yeah, I think this is the answer. But let's double check. Describe accident that has occurred when oil activities were in progress. This is only one part. Not every single example is accident, right? Okay, so and also it doesn't have the main message. That is, it could be bad for the environment. Okay, B does not have that. Okay, C, give an analysis. It's not an analysis. Analysis is like you analyze something, right? It's just providing examples to support the main idea. So it's not an analysis, but let's read on anyway. Give an analysis of the effect of oil spills on the environment. They tried, maybe confusing, but it's not analysis. It's just statement, which is oil exploration can endanger the environment, and they're providing example to support that. That's the purpose. That's the flow. Okay. Yeah. And also, oil spill is one part of the endangering the environment. Okay, so it's only talking about one part, not the whole paragraph. Okay, but anyway, as I told you, it's not an analysis at all. So C is wrong. D, explain how technology and registration help reduce oil spill. That is not the main purpose of the whole paragraph. It just covers this tiny sentence out of all of this paragraph, which has the main idea here and 5 examples, as I told you. Okay, so D focuses on just one sentence. It's not the purpose of the whole paragraph. So, it's a bit of a curveball. It's a rhetorical purpose. Nevertheless, it's a big picture question. Usually you would get the purpose question of one sentence usually, but keep that in mind. You rarely get this question type. Chances are it's very low you'll get this question type exactly, but it's just something new, so worthwhile studying and understanding and remembering that this is still rhetorical purpose question time. Okay, so question 8 A. Next question, please. Okay, question 9, insertion. Let's go. Look at the 4 squares that indicate where the following sentences could be added to the passage. So we are inserting this sentence in one of the 4 boxes. Okay, right? So let's do it. Let's read the given sentence in red first. Unless something acts to halt this migration. So unless something stops or put an end to, unless something stopped this migration. So one sentence before this sentence, it must have some kind of migration happening. Okay, because it says, unless something acts to hold this migration, the migration that I already talked about in the previous sentence. Okay. So that's one hint. These natural resources. Okay, so we have another hint. One sentence before, it's going to talk about some kind of natural resources in plural or 2 different types, so that this sentence can call that natural resources these natural resources, pronoun. Okay, that's a second hint. Pretty big hint. Okay, so this migration, these natural resources, 2 hints, will eventually reach the surface. Okay, so that's also hint, whether you think it's small or big. So due to the previous sentence, meaning of the previous sentence, this migration ultimately the end point will be, this migration will arrive, will end to reach the surface. Unless it's stopped, it's going towards the surface and it will get to the surface. Okay, so that's another hint. All right, paragraph 2. Continuous sedimentation, which means the process of deposit settling on the sea bottom, buries, so continuous sedimentation buries the organic matter and subject it to higher temperature and pressure, which converts organic matter to oil and gas. This makes no sense. Like, we can never put this in the first box. It's not going to work at all, right? We don't have any this migration. Okay, As muddy sediments are pressed together, the gas and small droplets of oil may be squeezed out of the mud and may move into sandy layers nearby. Still, I don't see this. I mean, gas and small droplets of oil maybe are squeezed out of the mud and moving into sandy layer nearby, but you cannot say this as the migration of something. Okay. All right. And this, like, does this give us enough hint to believe that because of this reason, it will ultimately reach the surface? No. Okay. How about these natural resources? Gas, oil, yeah. Natural resources are covered, but I don't see how this sentence ensures it will ultimately reach the surface. No, that's absolutely not. Over a long period of time, yeah, I like this better. Accumulation, not a migration, accumulation, so maybe not yet, of gas and oil can collect in sandy lake. Exactly. So there is no migration here. There is this sentence does not have the migration that I'm looking for so that I can put this sentence right after this sentence. Okay, let's read again. Over a long period of time, accumulation of gas and oil can collect in sandy layers. So it's being collected and being built up, right? So there's no hint of migration or reaching the surface. This is definitely not given either. So I cannot put it here. So I have no choice. Fourth box, hopefully. I hope so. Let's find out. Getting a bit nervous. Both oil and gas, okay, so these natural resources covered, are less dense than water. So they generally tend to rise upwards. Migration. And rise upwards. So I'm going to read the remainder of the sentence, but rise up to reach where? The surface. Bam. Okay, let's read from the top. I think the fourth box is the answer. Both oil and gas, these natural resources, are less dense than water, lighter. So they generally tend to rise upwards, migration, through water-saturated rock and sediment. And as they keep rising, unless something stops it, as they keep rising, it's going to reach the surface. So the third hint was quite a big hint. Important hint after all. Okay? So let me read this sentence here. Unless something acts to halt this migration. So what is migration here? Migration of oil and gas rising upwards. Okay? So unless something acts to halt this migration, these natural resources, both oil and gas, will eventually reach the surface because keep rising. Okay. So they generally tend to rise upwards through water saturated rocks and sediment and eventually reach the surface unless something stops it. Perfect. Right? You get it, right? I don't need to read it again. I mean, I keep interrupting myself, so I'll calm down and read two sentences in full at once. Both oil and gas are less dense than water, so they generally tend to rise upwards through water-saturated rock and sediment. Unless something acts to halt this migration, these natural resources will eventually reach the surface. Bang. Okay. Question 9, the answer is fourth box or D. Next question, last question. Question 10, please. Okay, question 10. Let's do this to finish. An introductory sentence for a brief summary of the passage is provided below here, as you know. Complete the summary by selecting 3 answers, as you know. We need to choose 3 answers that express the most important ideas. So we only need main ideas, important ideas, not minor detail. Some sentences do not belong in the summary because, so wrong answers are they express idea that is not presented in the passage. So, wrong information. Okay, wrong information or information that is just not mentioned or a minor idea. So we need to keep in mind what this part is telling us is that usually it's wrong information, but even if it's a right information, if it's not the important ideas or main ideas, but very, very minor detail within the paragraph, then even if it's a correct information, it's not going to be the answer. Okay, so let's use that to help us choose the right answer. All right, let's go. Petroleum is broad term that includes both crude oil and natural gas. A. Petroleum formation is the result of biological as well as chemical activity. Yeah, exactly. Paragraph 1 and 2. So paragraph 1 and 2 shows it is biological because it all starts with the sediment and organic matter as a sediment or in sediment. It's a starting point. So it's a biological. It's like a living matter being preserved, and after accumulating millions of years, it becomes oils and gas. But through the high pressures and temperature and their components being changed, and through a high level of pressure and temperature, their original form is changing to oil and gas. That's chemical activities, right? Yeah. So paragraph 1 and 2. Okay. A is the right answer. B, the difficulty of finding adequate source of oil on land has resulted in a great number of offshore drilling sites. Yeah, it's paragraph 4. Okay, as oil becomes increasingly difficult to find, the search for it is extended to more hostile environment, and it introduced the Alaska and offshore exploration, trying to look for oil pools and field under the ocean. Okay, offshore drilling, right? So that's paragraph 4, main idea. C, petroleum extraction can have a negative impact on environment. Wow, getting nervous. A, B, C, all 3's answer. Okay, so D, E, F. All of them have to be wrong answers. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble, wouldn't we? Right? So, yeah, this is what? Paragraph 6, wasn't it? Last paragraph. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me read out the first sentence of paragraph 6 to help you confirm. Moreover, getting petroleum out of the ground and from under the sea and to the consumer can create environmental problem anywhere along the line, right? So that's paragraph 6. Has to be the answer. Okay? All right. Let's be careful, yeah? Let's bring it home. D. Petroleum tends to rise to the surface since it is lower in density than water. Super minor, right? And it's paragraph 3, I think. The gusher, right? Yeah. The paragraph 3 talks about many things. How when they find the oil pool, they drill a well. Okay. And they talk about the whole process of how they get the oil out. Okay. From the oil pool once they find it. how they drill it and how they get it out and how they separate it. So they talk about the whole process, paragraph 3, of getting the petroleum out under the ground. Okay. But look at this sentence. Petroleum tends to rise to the surface since it is lower in density than water. That's like minor detail. Okay. E, current methods of petroleum extraction enable oil producers to recover about half of the. This is minor detail. Plus, this is wrong. Okay. It wasn't half. It was like 30 to 40%, wasn't it? Yeah, paragraph 5. It says, even given the best extraction techniques, second last sentence of paragraph 5, even given the best extraction techniques, only about 30 to 40% of the oil in the given pool can be brought to the surface. Okay. Right. So, paragraph 5 talks about the factors you have to consider before deciding to drill under the ground or under the ocean or not. Okay, so that's the main idea, and the details are supporting that idea. Okay, so it's a minor detail, even if you thought this was the right answer. So it's like a thank you answer choice. Okay, it's minor detail, plus it's actually wrong. So E is out. F. Okay, please. Don't be right. I mean, F to be not right. Okay, not for us. I'll be in trouble, wouldn't it? F. Accidents involving oil tankers occur when tanker. First of all, it's not a main idea because we already have an answer. It's from same paragraph. How can both be the answer? Okay, so C is the perfect answer to cover paragraph 6. So within paragraph 6, this one tiny example can be the answer. So it's already wrong. But this may be actually wrong information as well as being detailed. So let's double check. Accidents involving oil tankers occur when tankers run into, yeah, it's not mentioned. So it's a thank you answer choice. It's not always like this, guys. Yeah, this is really good question. D, if you look at it, it's not actually a wrong information at all. It's a correct information, but it's minor detail. Okay. F, even the information was right, it's still minor detail, but actually F is wrong information because accident involving oil tankers occur when tankers run into shore reef. This is not mentioned. Okay. So two things can happen. Be aware. Okay. So it could be minor detail, but it's a correct information. It could be wrong information. And it could be wrong information as well as minor detail. Okay. To be the wrong answer. See? Some sentences do not belong in the summary. Some answer choices are wrong because they express ideas that are not presented in the passage. So basically wrong information. Same thing, not mentioned. Or minor detail of the passage. Okay, so wrong answer can be wrong information, information not mentioned, or minor detail, or both. So and or. Okay, meaning minor detail and it's actually wrong information slightly. Anyway, you figured. Okay, so we're safe. D, E, F out. So question 10, 3 answer choices that are correct is A, B, C. Okay, so the whole passage, 10 questions, 1 TOEFL reading practice test set is completed. I hope this video helped you. In a way, I'm sure this did help you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, Thank you, guys. See you in my next episode, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. And also, press that like button if you enjoyed the video. Okay. I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Thank you, guys. Bye.